This is a look at the Blackview BV6000 phone. It arrives very well presented in a nice simple box with silver foil printing and a lightly embossed brick pattern there. And on opening the box, the superb presentation continues. Again, very nicely presented. Lift the ribbon and this is the phone. As you can see, it doesn't look like most other typical smartphones because this is rather different in that it is waterproof, drop proof, dust proof and generally life proof. The phone has an aluminium body giving it strength and toughness, and this is coated in a tough black plastic and a rubberized finish as well. All the corners are rounded, so if the phone is dropped it's less likely to cause any damage, but the phone itself is very tough anyway. It has Gorilla Glass on the front, so it's protected against smashing, shattering or even scratches. And in line with its waterproofness, all the ports are covered by these rubber caps. You do need nails to actually lift these, but they are nice and secure. There's a headphone socket there and a pressure sensor. Good, firm, rugged covers which are held in place by a screw. A second one on the base is for the charging via micro USB. Another recessed port there with a good plug over it. There's a loop there for attaching a wrist strap, neck cord or carabiner. This back panel here moves to gain access to the micro SIM ports and a micro SD memory card port as well. To the side are these three buttons here, the power, volume down, volume up, and then on the other side is a camera button, an SOS button that you can program to make emergency calls, and a PTT button. I've been a bit curious about this because it suggests that the phone possibly has walkie-talkie features, but I haven't been able to find any further information about that. Also included with the phone, on lifting out the tray, is the USB charging cable. This is slightly different to most because it's got a 10mm plug, because obviously it needs to reach through all the additional casing on this phone, which you don't see on others. Similarly, this also applies to the headphone plug as well, which also has to reach in further than on most other phones. USB extension cable there, the charging plug, there's a stylus for anyone who wishes to use one, and in this little package here there's a user manual. Now this is probably the best user manual I have ever seen for a smartphone because it really does show how to actually use it and how to set it up. Most just have a little slip of paper and it's largely guesswork, so this would also suit a first-time user as well. You just don't normally get manuals like that. There's a spare screen protector, and note there's already one fitted to the phone, so it's nice to have these spares. And speaking of spares, no generosity is spared here because there are two spare port covers there, complete with screws for actually holding them in place. And there are 6 screws as well. This is the inside of the phone. It has this little rubber cover here. And you can now see that there are 2 SIM ports and a port for a micro SD card. Everything is well thought out and very user-friendly and very rugged. It has a nice bright screen and is responsive to even the slightest touch, but there's also another setting within the menus which enables it to be used with gloves. You don't see that on other phones, but this phone really is packed with all sorts of features, not just the glove mode, but also tap and pay. There's NFC, a one-key SOS setting. It supports screen gestures, system motion. pretty much everything you could imagine, and overall it's an extremely good performer. It has all the usual features you would expect from Android, including the calendar, music player, photo gallery, camera, clock, email. It isn't packed with bloatware, just the essentials from Android, plus I've downloaded a few apps of my own, such as Google Chrome, which records all my bookmarks, favourites, passwords and other settings, so that enables a very quick setup. And just to take a quick look at some of the features, internet browsing is obviously one of the main uses for a smartphone, so let's just have a quick look and see how fast it performs. Go to the BBC page purely because that usually involves a lot of graphics. We don't have the fastest internet here, but you can see that that all launched very, very quickly. You can zoom in and out, scroll up and down just as you would with any other phone. One of the best features of this phone for me has to be the camera. It's very fast, it's packed with features. The autofocus performs really well and quickly, and there's next to no shutter lag. There are lots of settings. Photos can be shot in lots of different sizes, from a mere 1 megapixels right up to 18, and photos can be either widescreen or 4:3. The same also applies to the video settings as well, with different quality modes. I've been really impressed with this camera. It's a joy to use, it's very fast, and the picture quality is good, providing you use a high resolution setting. It can be blocky at lower resolutions, but with an 18 megapixel camera it makes sense to use it.
There aren't many smartphones where you could get so close to splashing water without having to worry. Another demonstration of the video recording in fine mode and highest resolution, complete with voice to demonstrate the microphone recording.
There's a music player, and I have to say the volume on this is very much louder than all others I've used on phones. Let's have a listen. So although the volume is good, there is some distortion at high volume, and the sound can be quite tinny from the small speaker, as you'd expect. But what I would suggest is use either the headphones or connect an external speaker either via the headphone socket, providing the plug fits. That's going to be a possible issue here, or just use Bluetooth, and that will then give you good quality audio with good volume. The video player is also good. I've recorded several videos with this phone, but I'm going to play one I recorded using my normal camera just to illustrate how well videos play. You'll see there's absolutely no stuttering, but just good, smooth video playback. Other features include the compass. There's a flashlight, switch it on, off, SOS mode, a sound recorder which I've used for recording audio in meetings. Let's just give it a test. Testing, testing, 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1, test over. 5 5 4 3 2 1, test over. One thing I have noticed is the volume does tend to be quite low on audio recordings, and that applies to both the sound recorder and recording on video as well. It's the ideal phone for any outdoorsy person who would otherwise worry about it getting wet when used in the rain or a humid environment, or on a beach when there's sand blowing. It's a phone you can use absolutely anywhere without having to worry about it getting wet, getting damaged, having a slight knock. You can pop it in your back pocket and sit down without worrying about cracking the screen. Really, you can do anything with it, and is one I would definitely recommend to any sort of outdoorsy person for any use whatsoever. because it will stand up to whatever you throw at it. Well done, Blackview.